QPR, QPR, this one Rangers are on the up and up. QPR, QPR, now we're heading for European Cup.
Hello and welcome to Open All Ours, the QPR podcast. I am David Fraser, and there's 5 of us around the table this week. Have all the founders of the podcast, the regulars. First of all, we'll say hello to Paul Finney from IndyRs.
Hello.
And Chris Charles from BT Sport.
Hi.
And Chirs Mendes from ITV Sport.
Hello.
And first-time podcaster.
Yeah,
First time, Garry Decaires.
Correct.
Did I get the pronunciation correct? Good, very good. Okay, lots to talk about. First of all, let me do what I usually do, which is go through the various ways you can keep in touch, listen to episodes, and help us out. You can follow us on Twitter at QPRPod. You can listen to all our episodes at qprpod.co.uk. You can add us on Facebook. Thank you very much this evening to Stuart Morley, who has bought the beers. Many thanks to him and the other people who've bought the beers. And you guys don't know this, but we only have 3 available podcasts left for people to buy us the beers. It's gone down very well as Paul looks at his own gluten-free beer that he brought in himself. So maybe we should give people the opportunity to buy the gluten-free beer.
I'm last on everyone's list.
Apparently you need to speak into the microphone a bit better.
I said I'm last on everyone's list. I don't expect anyone to do anything from me. But that said, there are some very nice gluten-free beers out there.
Well, if you expect nothing, you can't be disappointed.
I was sitting next to my mate at the game on Saturday, and he had a pie at half time. He opened it, and half of it had already spilled out. He's like, "Oh, Finney's right about the food at QPR. It's terrible."
I don't want to be right. I'd rather be wrong about the food, but never mind. It's what it is, isn't it?
Well, beer, food. Thank you very much, by the way, to Stuart and everyone else who's done that through our website. Okay, so there's a fair few things on my list, actually, since last week. Let's start with the game on Saturday, the reverse, as people call it, to Huddersfield. One of the Chris's. Which one? Should we go with Portuguese Dreamboat or Crouch End Dreamboat?
I don't think that one is actually applicable, so we better go with Chris.
It was very frustrating. Another game where we should have got something from it based on our performance. It was just we seemed to do okay until they scored the first goal, and then for the rest of the first half after that, we just completely lost it. They were in complete control, and then with the substitutions with Freeman and Lualua coming on, I thought we were much better. Unlucky not to get the point in the end. I was convinced we had a penalty, only for the offside flag to go up. There are positives to take from it. Freeman's performance, especially, was brilliant. He looked very skillful. Looked like he can make things happen. It took his goal really well, and I thought Manning slotted in really well at left back. I was a bit confused when that first happened, but it's no good just having those positives. We need points. Only 5 off the relegation spaces now, and the most worrying thing about it is that we don't know where the goals are coming from. We've got good strikers who are playing quite well, but unless he starts playing Freeman and he gets a run of goals, I just can't see anyone putting a run of goals together for us up front.
Formation. Who wants to tackle the formation from Saturday?
Go on, Gary.
Well, I was trying to work it out for the first half, sitting with Steve. I sit next to Steve Sace. Good evening, Steve.
Sacey?
Yes. And we sat there trying to work out, why is Powell playing sort of right back, really? He's not even as a wing back, because he's got Mackie ahead of him. And thought, well, this isn't really the right time to start experimenting. Now we're, looking over our shoulders. But it didn't work.
No. Anyone like to hazard a guess at what the sort of theory was with the formation? Anybody think it worked? Anybody think that the criticism of Holloway for starting with a sort of bizarre formation was a bit too harsh? Anybody wish to make the case for the formation?
It was a bit harsh because we played all right until they scored the first goal. We had better of the play in the opening period, and we almost took the lead when Washington had that chance that was tipped onto the post. But I did find it a bit confusing, especially down the right-hand side with Pavel and Mackie. They seemed to kind of get in their way a little bit. Mackie's tendency was to drift out wide, and Pavel was pushing forward a lot, even because he's got such an engine on him. He was pushing forward. So I wasn't surprised to see Mackie come off. We did look better in the second half, but I don't know whether that was because we were chasing the game and already behind more than anything else.
I think the weird thing is we ended up with taking both of them off, which was a bit weird. I think the idea was we knew they'd be strong in the middle, so the idea, I'm guessing, was to go down the flanks, get the cross-in balls into Smith. He's going to knock them down to Washington or whoever's around, and then bang them in. But we got absolutely caned in the first half in that midfield. We went. I think we looked at we were playing 5 in the back. They put 5 in midfield. It's sort of stifled everything, but also they kicked us to death in midfield as well. I mean, they number 10 and the guy from Chelsea just had their own little play in the park, and we couldn't really cope with that. Second half,
Brown.
Yeah, is it? But who we should have known about because he played for Rotherham against us.
Scored as well.
Yeah. As a mate of mine went, who is this Chelsea? Oh shit! As he scored, sort of thing. And the thing is, it's just kind of like there is a wee bit of me that thinks we are tinkering too much. We need to get a solid plan together, a side together, and just go with it because we seem to be tinkering a hell of a lot, and it's getting a little bit worrying. We're not in this shite yet, as I said on Twitter, but I'm stocking up on toilet roll.
We were very unlucky. We were very lucky again, though. I mean, I know their second goal was really good, the move, but there was a lucky deflection in there as well. And those kind of things are not going our way.
Well, they saw it coming a mile off. The Huddersfield fans basically olayed that goal into there, didn't they? They started cheering right at the top, and it's just like, I mean, in some ways it seemed like we were standing off and paying them a bit too much respect. I mean, I think they're now unbeaten in 15, won 5.
Lost 1 in 15.
Lost 1 in 15, won 5 straight. They're a good side, but they're not Barcelona. And I know Furlong, he clearly, decided to give him a rest. He was on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I think. But anyone know what happened to Morrison? Because was he injured or? I mean, he wasn't.
He's just not fit.
No.
Is he?
But he was. I mean, he didn't even make the bench, which sort of surprised me.
I saw Ravel Morrison at Morrison's the other
Is
day.
Lynch
Not
not-
Morrison's.
Lynch
Not,
not-
we're talking about at Westfield the other day, and he's had a chat with him. Wished him
Seeing
good luck.
Ravel Morrison in Morrison's would be amazing.
That would have been.
Wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
would have been great. I don't know if I just made that up. Clearly dreaming about it.
But Lynch injured, was he?
I don't know. Anyone heard anything about Lynch? What was wrong with Lynch on Saturday? Why he wasn't played?
Unavailable for selection. I don't know.
But
I don't
the
know.
thing
I
is
don't
that it's just that as fans, we sort of left a guess. Are they injured? Are they off for some other reason? Are they?
They used to communicate it, didn't they?
Yeah.
They don't really.
It's just we were sort of scratching our heads a bit. I mean, I like the Morrison, fair play. I mean, he's not fully fit. I get that, but I thought maybe we'd make the bench at least.
When they don't communicate it, it kind of makes you think there's a reason that they don't want us to know about.
Yeah. But maybe there isn't at all. Maybe it is completely innocent. But then that's counterproductive because then gets people thinking: is there something when there's nothing at all?
But maybe we didn't want to do it because we didn't want Huddersfield to know that we had a key defender missing. Who knows? It could be playing mind games.
Yeah.
No,
especially an ex-Huddersfield player.
Yeah.
No, but sometimes if it's just an injury or a suspension or whatever, the club will, the people that are asking the club will just tweet, after the game started or half time, whatever, unavailable because. ... whatever.
It's interesting. What did you think of the Huddersfield team budget-wise and what they've spent and what they've got for the money?
They've got the 4th lowest budget in the league, and they're 4th in the league. They're doing really
They
well.
seem to be using the loan market well.
Yeah.
The players they brought in.
I think for the difference was that everything they did clicked. And we're sort of not that far off at times, but there's a miscontrol here or an overhit pass there just right at the crucial moment. A couple of times getting tangled in people's legs.
I mean, we really went for it in the
I thought
second half.
Second half. I mean, I think you could say we, as Crystal, were unlucky not to get a point, and there was the one penalty for the offside flag, but the second one, I mean, it looked like blatant handball to where I was in the loft.
Yes.
I haven't seen it back on the TV. I know it could be ball to hand. I mean, I'm in favour of just saying if it hits your hand, then it's a penalty, and then you take away any doubt whatsoever. And also another rule I'd like is that taking the ball up to the corner flag, because even when we do it, because we never get it right anyway, I'd just like them to say, right, you can't do that. Time
What,
wasting.
when you time waste?
Yeah.
The thing is about
Harder to bring
My
in
dad
for
hates
that.
that.
though.
the thing is, if you're looking at it from our point of view, and your player kicks the ball up as he's clearing it and it hits his hand, and the referee give a penalty, you'd be going absolutely ballistic because it's obviously not played to hand, which is supposed to be the thing where the ball's supposed to be heading towards the net. It's a tricky one. You want to give it. I mean, if it was an Arsenal Man United player game, they'd probably get it. Chelsea, the big boys would get it. But in games in the Championship, you're not going to get penalties like that.
That's
Chris
what I'm
is
saying.
right, though.
That's what I'm saying. If you say it's a hand. But if you handball it, whatever happens in the box, it's a penalty.
Yeah.
And that removes any.
Well, they were arguing about the Sanchez goal, the Arsenal goal on Saturday, and apparently technically that was a legitimate goal. There were referees on the radio saying that was a legitimate goal because it was ball to hand and he couldn't have removed his hand, and so by the letter of the law, that goal should stand. But if I agree with you, if you just introduced a rule that if it hits your hand, it's tough luck whether you it was deliberate, not deliberate, you're just not allowed to touch it with your hand, and so that it's straightforward.
To use the old cliche, it would even itself out at the end of the season or over 2 seasons or whatever. But there you go.
I would like a rule brought in that when there's a free kick given against us and the opposition player moans, they get sent off, but we get away with it. I don't think it's going to happen.
I would like a rule brought in that if you wear a short-sleeved shirt, you can't wear gloves. You can't wear gloves with just a short-sleeved shirt.
It's ridiculous.
So either long-sleeve gloves can only be worn with a long-sleeve shirt.
The other thing is, but did
no?
Was it,
it's ridiculous.
Was it just me that got fed up with their continual moaning and the way that the 44 at the back and the guy from Chelsea on loan, Izzy Brown, were just moaning the referee all the time? I just send him off. It was just doing up my head, and because it was deliberately wasting time, moaning, falling down, pretending I had head injuries and so forth. It was doing my head. And I don't blame them. We'd probably do exactly the same thing, but the referee I thought was right leading because he was taking 5 minutes each goal kick with a ball in his hand. It's supposed to be a 6-second rule. And why does no one do throw-ins?
That doesn't exist anymore, does it? The 6-second rule?
The rule doesn't exist anymore,
does the 6-second rule
doesn't
exist?
I
Journalists?
Don't think so. I don't think it does, but
it's still supposed to exist.
But they can still book a player for time wasting if he's taking.
He was good. Ward was good.
6 seconds.
He was good, and
that save from Matt Smith was very.
I don't want to keep. I don't want to sort of say, not make excuses for us to lose or whatever, or give it too much perspective, but I am going to give it perspective. Huddersfield are 4th. They've lost 1 in 15. Is that so bad to really give them a good go and just come up a bit short against a team that's 4th?
But we didn't give them a good go in the first half.
No, we didn't. In the second half.
We waited until we were 2 down before we actually... I thought it was a decent performance in the second half, and that's why I didn't come away too disillusioned with it. I'm not going to make any more predictions after last week's fiasco.
No,
don't worry. So
the thing is, you shouldn't go 2-0 down and play for the draw. In my theory. But then, the formation is wrong and everything else. I just get so frustrated because I'm so sick of losing home games. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm sick to death of losing home games.
It's 8 now this season.
And last season we drew 10 at home, didn't we? And lost.
I think drew 10 and won 9, lost 4. So I've been doing my homework.
It's alright, but it's just like we're not winning enough home games. Our away form isn't too bad, which gives me hope on Saturday. But home-wise, we need to seriously start turning this around.
Well, you could argue that we're maybe better set up to get something away. I mean, at Reading, we had, I think I mentioned this last week, I think we had 22% possession or even less than that. And we really played them off the park, I thought.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe that's the issue. But then that shouldn't be the issue because I, on a positive note, I thought Smith did... Well, he did what he was supposed to do. He won pretty much everything.
He was literally passing with his head, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He see the ball coming and he knew he was like playing passes with his head.
Did he find other people though? I mean, I don't want to be harsh on him given the first game, but I felt it was a bit like the aerial version of Junior Hoylett, who spends a lot of time running and it goes into nowhere, and he couldn't seem to find anyone. Now, I don't necessarily blame him because he has to get used to the other players, and they have to know how he plays. I think he can be extremely useful, but I thought it was a bit early to hail him as kind of the next aerial threat. When
do you know what? I judge it on their centre half, who at the end of the game, when the whistle went, did a deep side, almost fell to the ground in exhaustion. Smith gave him an absolute afternoon, and he knew he was in the game. I judge it in that, so I would say he didn't enjoy playing against him. So
I think he can be a real threat for us.
He can, yeah. That understanding with Washington or whoever he's playing up top with will improve. I thought he was really good in both boxes, Matt Smith, defensively as well. He helped us out at set pieces and corners. The only thing with him playing, it does make us a bit predictable. I don't think that was so much of a problem in the second half because you had Freeman with a bit of trickery around him, but.
Yeah, Freeman was great actually.
Yeah.
A lot of the, I don't know if this was sour grapes, but on a lot of the Bristol City forums, when they were going, they said, "Oh, he's a one-trick pony. He's a League One player at best." And I thought, I mean, he did all the sort of showboats and stuff.
It reminds me, he's sort of playing the Cherry role, but it was when he didn't have the ball and his movement as well was was pretty good. I mean, watching Cherry earlier in the season, he was tended to stroll around at times, but Freeman was getting involved. I mean, his first touch, he did a little shimmy, and he got the crowd straight on. And that was on his side.
The crowd was dead from
and that's it. And everything he seemed to do after then, he did get people up on their feet.
Yeah. It kind of confuses the opposition as well because he's wearing number 2, so you think, he's a right back. Oh, actually,
what do we think about Luongo?
He struggled on Saturday. He didn't have a good game. I think he's a really good player, but he just seemed off the pace on Saturday.
What do you think of Luongo, Paul?
I think that we have an issue in the midfield. We need a ball-winning midfielder badly. That was struck to me Saturday. I mean, I think with him, he tends to fly into tackles. He was lucky that he didn't get a sterner referee who would have maybe. There's a couple of things he did. He could have been booked for, and he could have been sent off if he'd have carried on. There's a couple of little challenges, but that's because we're chasing the ball midfield, and he was basically him, and then it was our centre half, and then they were straight through. So I can understand what he was doing, but have we got a ball winning midfielder? I mean, the way they were doing it with Hall and Lynch. That's why I asked about Lynch. I thought that worked really well because Hall was pushing in, doing that job, and then Luongo and Manning were able to had a lot more freedom to do things. Whereas take Lynch out and put Hall back in.
We haven't seen much of Sean Goss, but he's more of a ball playing midfielder. Holloway said Ravel Morrison exactly the same. So unless he brings Carl Henry back in the team, and I don't think anyone wants that, we haven't really got that type of player. Manning is very dynamic. No.
Well, I think Manning gets he needs more protection from refs. I mean, he's an amazing character because he never moans. He takes a hell of a kicking during the game, and he gets up every time. Never moans, never falls over. But the size
definitely doesn't go missing.
It takes a lot of responsibility as well. Yeah,
he's got to be young player of the season. I mean, for someone who was so close to being kicked out to turn it around the way he does, he's an inspiration. But is it just me, or is that as recently have we been losing the ball too much in midfield? And do we need to bring? Do we need Carl Henry to come back?
I think we just need an extra body in midfield in the first half, and he did change it around. We were just getting overrun, and they were very physical and strong. Number 10 Moy and Isaiah Brown. They were just so hard to knock off the ball.
The ball winner in midfield, is that not supposed to be? Oh my God, his name's gone right out of my head. Centre back.
Grant
Hall. I beg your pardon. Hall. Sorry, mind blank.
The trouble is, when Lynch is playing, I think Hall's a better player. Without Lynch behind him, Hall's always, he was a bit.
The problem with that, Hall's too deep, and if you've got a team who use wingers, then by the time they get the ball out wide, they've already bypassed that player.
Yeah.
Okay. Word on Smithies. And there is a reason that I'm asking Smithies on Saturday.
Yeah, there's no way he could have stopped the 2 goals that went in. Apart from that, he
didn't have a lot to do.
No, exactly. I think he was
certainly second half.
And the fans were giving him a good reception to basically give him a wave, which he didn't. And they were also singing. I don't know, Holloway must have predicted him to go down because they kept singing, "Oh, you're watching Holloway," which clearly he was because he was like on the sidelines. And then you're getting sacked in the morning. So he obviously tipped him for relegation, I'm guessing, as a Sky pundit.
I believe so.
He did, yeah.
I think the thing about Smithies is he's the best goalkeeper we've had in a very long time. I just hope to God we have him here next season, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
We won't.
The easiest Player of the Year award in a long time this year.
We won't, but we'll have £6 or £7 million.
I wouldn't be so pessimistic about that. I mean, maybe if Huddersfield go up, they'll buy him.
I'll tell you why.
But he seems happy at the club.
I'll tell you why we won't, because he's in demand. He's a good goalie, and we have a very good goalie in reserve. So I'm not sure.
Their keeper's on loan, isn't he? Huddersfield's keeper's on loan
from Liverpool.
Yeah. Grew up in Huddersfield.
This is boyhood club, so you wouldn't begrudge him wanting to go there if they were interested in him if they did go up. But
are they going to have the money to buy him though?
Well, any team that goes up.
Well, I know. But I mean,
they are quite free. Owner is like a Huddersfield Town fan, local businessman, and he does run the club really quite sensibly. So maybe they wouldn't.
Trouble is, Chris, it's only us that waste money in the Premiership. Most of the team. I mean, I was thinking that the other day. I was watching Burnley play the Scum the other day. Sorry, listeners, Chelsea, Scum.
Cheering on Joe Barton.
And Do you know what? That was going to be my point. But do you want to go on to the other thing? Because I was going to say, I don't remember Joey Barton playing that well for us at times as he's played for Burnley. It's quite bizarre.
To be fair, we did okay for us, Joey Barton, in the Premier League. He's one of our better players.
Yeah, but for Burnley, he's like a different player. He was actually bossing that midfield.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have an interview with Alex Smithies, our goalkeeper. He has been on already. We have had him on already this season on the podcast, but Clive Whittingham from Loft for Words managed to get a few words with him and catch up with him, and we didn't want to let the opportunity pass. So here is Clive talking to Alex Smithies.
Okay, so yeah, these penalty saves, what's the secret? Is it like witchcraft or something?
Quite a lot of people have asked me, especially lately, that what is my secret, but I don't really like to give too much away, which is probably disappointing for yourselves and other people who want to know, but the main thing for me is a belief that I will save it. I expect to save it, and I try and do a bit of research and look into things more than it just being a lottery, whereas people on the outside might think, oh, it's a 50-50 chance of it going in or being saved, but for me, I try and stack the odds in my favour as much as I can. So without giving too much away, I think there's just a belief there that I will save it.
Yeah. There's that belief among the fans as well, actually. I've never sort of experienced this before, of not being that worried when we give a penalty away. Is it like 50% sort of judging as they're coming to the ball and 50% homework, or not to sort of push you into saying things you don't want to say?
No, every player is different. There's some players that go the same way every time, and that might make it a little bit easier in my decision, but that's often not the case anymore. People change it up, and there's lots of things we look into in terms of run up and patterns of where they've been and the state of the game, where they might go as a safe penalty. So there's lots of things that we look into, but a lot of it ultimately comes down to a gut feeling, and thankfully that's happened for me. But the big thing is, if I am managed to save it, can the lads follow it in, which has happened. I think Ross McCormack who missed, someone missed for Fulham, and it wasn't.
Fulham missed that many penalties.
Yeah,
I mean, it's difficult to keep.
Yeah,
track.
sorry, and it wasn't followed in, and he's just hit it wide. Sorry, it was Villa. And Ross McCormack's got the rebound. He's just hit it wide, and I'm screaming at lads saying, "Come on, got to clear the second one." So that's important to me as well, to make sure that they don't follow up the rebound.
Yeah, they're too relaxed. They're expecting you to save it. That's
high
the issue.
Expectations if they expect me to catch it every time.
So, like your own personal form this season is really good, sort of in contrast to the team. So, taking it from a personal point of view, you must be really pleased with how you're playing at the minute. I'm pleased to have played all the league games and managed to keep my place in the team, but ultimately I'm what we're all doing is as individuals is a reflection of the results we've got, which is not great. So there's certainly room for improvement from all aspects of our games, and I certainly want to be the best person I can be to help the team, and ultimately we've not got as many good results as we should have done this season. You came down from Huddersfield originally. Can you sort of take me through how that happened? Because it's not like an obvious move, Huddersfield to QPR. You've been at Huddersfield your whole life. You're a Huddersfield fan. Why sort of then, and why QPR at the time?
Obviously, I'd been at Huddersfield for a long time and all the way through as a pro. But from the age of 8, I was at Huddersfield as well, playing for the schoolboys team. So I felt like I'd progressed as far as I could go at that point. And at some stage, I think a change in move is important, because I think you can start to go stale. I had sort of a cushy job there where I thought I had a good chance of playing, and to really challenge myself and take myself out of my comfort zone, I thought that was probably a good step for my career. Obviously, when I first came down, Rob Green was in the team and doing well, and I had to really battle it out with him, and that gave me an opportunity to probably train a little bit harder and work on things that I'd not had the opportunity to do when I was playing so many games, and really focus on what I wanted, and that was to get into this team and stay there.
What's that like? Because a goalkeeper's an odd position. It's not something that gets swapped and changed a lot, and I don't think sitting on the bench for a prolonged period of time is anything you'd sort of experienced before in your career. So how was that? Is it frustrating, or did you come here expecting that to happen? What was the sort of emotion at that time?
I always see every year, if there's 2 or 3 goalkeepers in the first team squad, the person who deserves to play is the best person who's training and playing the best, and you can't have any problems if that's the case. So I use that opportunity to try and improve myself. It's difficult, it's frustrating, but ultimately, if you deserve to play, then no doubt you'll be playing. It's hard, but I try to see the positive in it, and I use the training aspect that I was able to train a bit more and work a bit harder. And when I did get my chance, that I would have improved on certain aspects that I wanted to improve on.
So there's no devil in you hoping that the other guy makes a few mistakes and you get in. There's no sort of selfish element to it like that.
No, not at all. I mean, when you do get a chance in the team, you want the team to be full of confidence and winning games, because it helps when you sort of move into the team. And things change so quickly in football in terms of injuries, and it could be a red card, it could be a change in form, that you've got to be ready. And I certainly wouldn't wish badly on anyone. I just sort of control what I can control, and that's the way I'm playing.
Do you look at Huddersfield now, because obviously they beat us again on Saturday, they're obviously a great team this year. Do you look at Huddersfield and think, shit, I probably should have given that a couple more years?
No, not at all. I mean, like I said earlier, the fact was that I needed a move to freshen up and really challenge myself and take myself out of my comfort zone. So I'm pleased that I've done that. And now it's sort of not really concentrating on what Huddersfield are doing, just focus on what QPR are doing and trying to help the team to become better and get better results. What is
if you can put your finger on a problem this season, what is it? Because we're not quite there. We seem to be playing quite well without getting the results. Is that, I'm sure the lads talk about it amongst themselves. What is the one thing that you can put it down to?
I think a lot of it comes down to consistency, because you see performances that we've put in against Wolves away and Reading away, and we've played some really good games, and just being able to do that week in, week out, and that's what the best teams do, and the teams at the top league are able to perform week in, week out without these dips in form. And I think we've probably had too many dips this season. We've shown signs that we could be a top team, and I'd imagine as we spend more time together as a squad, the squad's all in place now after the January signings, and spend more time with the manager, that will become more consistent.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because if we played like we played at Newcastle, we would have beaten Burton. But there's a dip there, and then up for Newcastle and sort of somewhere in the middle for Blackburn. Is that frustrating the lads as much as it's frustrating the fans?
Yeah, it's very frustrating. We obviously feel that we play against Newcastle, play really well, and play Burton. From the outside, people would expect us to win that at home, and it wasn't to be, and that is frustrating. But from a player's point of view, we don't really like to dwell on past results, because I think if you get too uptight on that, you'll lose confidence. And we sort of just got to the old cliche of next game matters. We're sort of looking at the next game always, and we probably try and get that consistency. But I think if you focus too much on what could have been, it's probably going to affect your confidence.
Loftus Road's been a weapon for us in the past. Does it hinder us when things aren't going quite so well? Because you can hear everything that's sort of being said, and the atmosphere at home games this year hasn't been that great. We've only won 4 times at home. Do you have to sort of block that out when it's kind of not going for you, if you see what I mean?
For me personally, when the fans are on side, which they are more often than not, then it really helps. But at the same time, every other game we play away from home. We play away at Newcastle in front of nearly 50,000 fans who are wanting us to lose. So, I mean, if we can handle that pressure, there's no reason why we can't handle pressure when things aren't going well at home. But I mean, more often than not, the fans have been fantastic, and I think the atmosphere towards the end of the game on Saturday are really helping us to push forward, and we're unlucky really not to get them a result.
You put, as we said, your personal form's more than fine. You're playing really well this year. I saw a quote saying you feel like you've moved your game up a level, and you've been nominated for these London Football Awards as well. Is that like just an added bonus, playing for one of the unfashionable teams and getting award
Yeah, I mean they're all added bonuses, but things like that, it's not what we do it for. What we do it for is to get results, and winning an award has nowhere near the same feeling as winning a game on a Saturday. That feeling, if you could replicate that and bottle that, I mean, players would buy the bottle load. But no, what we do it for is the results, and that's the main thing.
So, I mean, not to sort of trap you into anything, but there's like speculation about a contract and things like that. I mean, how much can you actually sort of say about that with 18 months left on the deal?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've got 18 months left, so there's no panic there from either side. I don't think. I'd like to stay. Hopefully, we can get something sorted quite quickly. Things never happen as quickly as you might expect, and things are dragged out. There's a lot of other things going on from the club side that they have to deal with. So nothing like that's ever overnight. But from my perspective, I'd love to stay for the long-term future.
Despite the speculation about other teams having a look at you, I mean, it's inevitable. Goalkeepers, good ones, are in sort of rare supply, and there's speculation about other teams having a look at you. Does that sort of come into it, or do you block that out?
I think, as you say, it is only speculation. There have been, as far as I'm aware, there's been no offers or anything like that, so it's nothing to even talk about. Like I said, if I can get a contract sorted, then I'll be delighted. I'd imagine we will do, but I've got 18 months left, so there's absolutely no rush on that respect.
Do you see it as a relegation battle at the moment? Presumably one you're all confident of winning, if so. But we're sort of just above that whirlpool at the minute. What's the sort of attitude? Do you see it as, we're in trouble here, we need to knuckle down? Or
I wouldn't say so. It's not. I've been in relegation battles where you're in and around the bottom three, and we've not been there this season. So, things could be a lot worse than they are now if you look at the teams below us, and we've got a run of games where we think we can pick up points. So I certainly think that we can, get to safety early on and kick on from there for the back end of the season.
Okay, that's great, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to Clive for that really good interview. Before we go on to the interview, Charles, what were you eating during the course of that interview?
Space Raiders.
Space Raiders. And are they? Gary asked, are they still 10p?
No, I'm afraid they're 20p.
They're 20p now. I don't think I've seen them since I was in school.
Well, you're obviously not looking high enough. Pickled onion flavour, if anyone's really interested.
I could smell that.
In the box.
Yeah.
Very good. Do they still sell Tangy Toms?
I've never even heard of them.
No? Anyone heard of Tangy Toms?
I remember them. Haven't had a packet for years.
Okay.
I've got one that only you'll hear this because I know you're obsessed with people under 19 listening to the podcast.
Go on.
But for those of us that are of a certain age, anyone remember Texan bars?
Oh, I used to love Texan bars.
I was told.
So what we need at QPR is a Texan bar, Space Raider, and a Tangy Tom meal deal.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get
and a dentist.
So. Very good interview by Clive. Thank you very much. Even though you described us as... What did you describe us as? Unfashionable.
Yeah.
But despite that, we'll move on.
I like Clive's radio voice, though. Clive, if you're listening, you don't sound like that in real life, but it's good enough for the radio.
I mean, Clive plays football on a Monday night, which is why he's not on the podcast very often. And I'm sort of glad, because if he was, then we'd all be out of a role, really, because he's very good. So, look, the main thing that I got from that interview was Smithies saying that he wants a deal, wants to sign a new deal. Sure, he will.
Do you know what I got off that interview, though? I get a guy that's very intelligent, that knows what he's talking about, who's an excellent goalkeeper, who will stay here. But I tell you what, that boy's got a brain. With the way he's up with the penalties and everything else, he's a top class keeper. I just wish he was Northern Irish.
I think as much as anything, we need to. I know he said he's got 18 months left, and there's no hurry. But really, if push comes to shove and we do sell him, then it's better to sell someone with 5 years on the deal than 18 months. Clearly, I hope it doesn't come to that. I mean, personally, I would. He does sound like he wants to be at the club, and I think someone else mentioned his family is settled and all that. So I think it'd be nice for Ollie to say to him, look, we'll see where we are at Christmas. If we're in sort of bottom 5 or 6, then fair enough, don't stand in the way. But if we're up there challenging, then...
What I found interesting was, I know he'd been at Huddersfield for many, many years, but he felt like it didn't have enough competition there. So, it'd be interesting whether it ever gets to the point at QPR like that where he's, so far ahead of any other keeper that he feels like he wants to test himself more.
And we keep him busy. Okay, I've got 2 other things to talk about before the R's end. Stadium and Forever R's, the Forever R's club, which there was a special edition of on Saturday. Which one first? Any preferences?
Go with the issue we need to deal with, which is Forever R's, and then we should talk about the stadium.
Okay, so Forever R's, for anybody that missed it or wasn't at the game, they had I guess, special set of inductions for Forever R's, the Forever R's ex-players club on Saturday, which was... Is it pronounced posthumous? Posthumous?
Yes.
Yeah. Posthumous inductees, which is players who've really made their mark on QPR who are no longer with us. I thought it was really nicely done. I thought
Andy Sinton spoke really well as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you think he obviously didn't play with, apart from Macca, who he knew well as a teammate, but I thought he spoke excellently.
And shout out to Paul Morrissey as well, who I thought, the whole thing was done really nicely at half time. And also shout out to the Huddersfield fans, who quite a few of them who were applauding each and every one of them when they came out and when they went off. So.
Yeah, good point.
I suppose the only sort of controversy or talking point was that I think some family members went on Twitter. Is that right?
Macca's daughters went on Twitter. I mean, it's a bit. I know. Listen, Macca's family live near me back home, and we've had the girls on the podcast. And I know Dave Anderson quite well.
We had Courtney on, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's difficult because it's their dad. They love him to death.
Yeah.
And he's a legend for us, but he's their dad. Whereas he played football for Queen's Park Rangers, he's their dad.
Yeah.
And I guess they feel, and it's not the club's fault, that they should have known about it. Now, why they didn't know about it, I don't know. That's maybe a family issue, but I put no blame on the club. It's just sad that because you don't want to have a go at the club about something like this, because it's a brilliant thing the club done. And
I'm told that the club, the invite lists were down to the family members.
Well, yeah, that's why I said it's just a shame. But I kind of know, but I'm not going to say things that are relevant to this in some ways, because it's not my place to say it. It would be disrespectful to the family. But I just hope it gets sorted one way or another, so it doesn't happen again.
It is a shame, and when something like this happens, it's obviously a great initiative from the club. It just gives them the opportunity to maybe invite them down for another game.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I'm not trying to be a clever artist saying, by the way, I know the family, so I know theirs. So I don't. I just think the club did a brilliant thing on Saturday. Whatever come out of that, what they did on Saturday was amazing. They should sit down and be very proud that we haven't forgotten those who are no longer with us, and that's what it's all about, including Ray Jones as well. And the thing is that we need to just, I guess, be mindful that there's other family members who, it's no fault of the club, will go on Twitter and it's their dad. So I do understand why they're upset.
But wasn't Ray Jones not inducted this time? Because I thought, and maybe I'm getting confused, I didn't think he had family members there and they were going to do him.
I think I saw online that the club tried to contact the family, but they hadn't had any joy so far. So
they didn't induct
they'll
him
be
in.
doing it
they want to do
another
time.
I think what I'm saying is I'm including him in it because obviously he's
sure.
I'm not saying the club are right or wrong not to do that. I'm just saying including Ray.
Okay, stadium. So the club announced last week, or it was leaked. I think it was leaked, actually. Or rather, it appeared as a... Sorry, I shouldn't say it was leaked. I mean, it was leaked by someone.
It was leaked with permission.
There was a news piece that alluded to the fact that QPR are now focusing their search for a new stadium on the Linford Christie Stadium, which is less than 1 mile from Loftus Road.
But apparently they're looking for a speedy conclusion. That's all I'm
Very
saying.
good. Very good.
That has to be done. See ya.
Any thoughts?
Well, I hope it's not going to be easy. I hope they can see the finish line in sight.
It's an idea that friggin' Doug Wiggins done.
Yeah.
Location-wise, it's very close to Loftus Road.
Yeah.
I think it's more viable than the Old Oak option. It's not going to be easy because local council, there are complications being so close to a prison and a hospital. There'll be people who fight it, but if they want it,
Anyone would be trying to get out to come and watch the Rangers.
Yeah.
I'm quite positive about it because the whole Old Oak thing was a complete non-starter from what I could gather and was never going to happen and was posturing by the club. And this looks like it could happen and could be viable.
I mean, it's a shame that we spend so much time with Old Oak, regardless of whose fault it was that we're not going ahead with it. I mean, the mayor described it as a mess. I don't know. I guess if the big boys are going to be in for that land because we're worth a fortune. But the Scrubs is ideal for us. Let's be honest. And you got the pavilion across the road, which has just been done up, which is a nice little club there. And to be fair, it's near me mum and me sister. So I've got somewhere to park.
Wow.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Gary, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think I read online somewhere, someone had got a quote from Linford Christie that he was quite pleased about it. I don't know whether that's true or not. I just love the fact that someone's gone round to his house. So
no, but so the quote was, he's a fan of the club.
Is he?
But
Oh.
I think Linford Christie meant he's a fan of
running club.
the running club,
Yeah.
not QPR.
Well, and that was one thing that was raised online. It was about.
He's from Hammersmith, though, originally, I think.
yeah, he's from the area.
No, he should be.
But
He used to
then-
live in Ruislip a while ago. I mean, that's where I'm from, and used to often see him popping in newsagents and places like that. Never seen him in a QPR scarf.
Was he like Billy Whiz when he went past to get a paper? Just oh Christ, was that?
He was at the height of his
Good,
sort of,
good
You just
modern
said goal.
reference there.
Sorry, yeah.
One for our younger
Fine
fans,
under
younger
Texans.
listeners.
He's obsessed with things.
One of the concerns people have is the potential of having a running track around the stadium, but I think the idea is to have that.
Stadium
Yeah,
to build
the
up
idea
next to
is
it.
that it's
Yeah.
not going to be
Yeah.
West Ham-esque.
But I wondered whether it was, there was a bit of a sort of a cheeky move by the club to get that put out there, so to give the old Oak people a bit of a nudge and to reignite. That's definitely not the case. No. Okay.
Old Hook's a dream. There's no-
Lunchbox Road. It is then.
So I like that. The thing is, everyone agrees that we need to leave Bournemouth Road for the board to do what they want to do.
Yeah,
It's local. We stay in the area. We still have connections to the community there. It would be ideal. The running tag obviously scared people, but if they're going to sort that out, that's grand. And let's face it, it's the only thing that worries me is there's East Acton Tube near there, isn't it? Which is a very small tube station, which I'm sure they're going to have to enlarge or do something like that. But I don't care because I'll be parking at my sister's and walking down, so I'm fine.
Paul's all right, everyone. Paul's all right.
I think they should go with it just because I can walk to the Harrow Road from there.
Well, it's not far from White City and Wood Lane as well.
But the other thing is, do we feel though that Loftus Road has had it, or that's it now? There's nothing we can do for the old girl.
I love Loftus Road. I do think longer term the club, if they have ambitions to be self-sufficient, then they do need to move to a new stadium.
Well, that is the thing. I think it's what the stadium's doing when it's not match day. I went up to Preston to watch QPR last season. We went to Blackpool for the weekend and we stayed in the hotel at Blackpool's ground. And while we was there, we seen they'd hired some of the executive boxes out and they were having like mass on a Sunday morning. But
yeah, you got to use these. They all use these grounds.
Go rewind a wee bit there. Mass at a football ground.
Yeah, they were singing, people walking up and down the corridors.
I've been in the hotel at the Ricoh Arena as well.
Yeah.
Like similar circumstances. Like they use these grounds the whole time now.
MK Dons,
Not
they
just
had
one day
snooker
a
there
week.
and
Get
darts.
married at QPR.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So ours end. We've got to do ours end because we're already at the end of the podcast. I'm going to start, and this is an open all ours end. So our esteemed engineer Harry, who's been with us for 2 years. Over a year. He's still with us. He's still with us, but next season he won't be with us.
What?
Yeah, he's still with us. Got 7, 8, 9 more episodes, something like
Where are
that.
you going next year then?
Away.
Not the Scrubs.
Away. So
Which Rangers?
we need to work out how we're going to record the podcast next year. So this is an appeal to anybody with, I suppose, basic technical skills.
Tape recorder.
Who might be interested in helping us out. We actually do have the equipment. We have all the equipment. We just need someone with perhaps a bit of engineering or sound background
good.
who would like to learn how to do it, to get in touch. So that we're up and running for next season.
We will offer beer, good nights out, and a damn good piss up nannigan.
Exactly.
Everything that we never offered Harry, basically.
So,
Yeah,
so
sorry,
get in
Harry.
touch with us through the usual means. Gentlemen, somebody else's ours end.
Okay, well, mine's just about Tiger Feet 8. Can't believe it's 8 already, but this is, as you probably know, the annual walk to raise money for Tiger Cubs.
That was a Mendes knee that whacked the table there.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
He's excited about that.
Tiger Feet 8.
Yeah, sorry. Tiger Feet 8, so it's to raise money for QPR Tiger Cubs, a team for children with Down syndrome, which is a fantastic cause. We've done 7 so far. The last couple, including this one, are going to be from the training ground to Loftus Road. Simply, really, because we've only got Fulham and Brentford in our division, and both of those games are either moved to morning or Friday night, which is just not doable. So hopefully we'll have Palace in there next season, so we can walk there again. So it's before the Rotherham game, which is on
18th of March.
Thanks, Gary. I knew you'd know.
I'm doing it.
Oh,
as
you're,
well.
yeah, Gary's doing it. Paul's doing it.
18th of March, you say?
Yeah.
18th of March. I knew that, but I forgot St Patrick's Day was a day. Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
I'll be grand.
Paul always does it hangover anyway.
Bring
So,
the stretcher
if
with,
you Google-
just carry around.
If you Google Tiger Feet 8, then you will find the fundraising page. Raised 14 grand last year, which was amazing.
Brilliant.
And it all goes
Yeah.
directly to the kids and their facilities. So
And them kids are so worth it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good.
They're inspiration to us all.
Paul.
Well, he kind of touched on what I was going to say because QPR Cullen tweeted it last week, so I'm pleased you've done that. I want unity. I'm not going to lie. I'm sick of the arguments on Twitter. I'm sick. I say this every week, but it's getting ridiculous. It's like someone's pro Sir Les Ferdinand, someone's pro Ian Holloway. Let's be pro Les Ferdinand. Let's be pro Ian Holloway. Let's hope that Les gets it right. Let's hope that Ian gets it right. And we stick together because we're in deep shit. You might not realise it, but we're looking over our shoulder and we cannot afford another relegation. So please stop arguing. And I know it's coming from me. It's slightly hypocritical because I argue more than anybody else on Twitter, but a little bit. I got a little bit. I got a few scraps last week with some people that I wish I'd never started. Anyway, Anyway, I'm not going to talk about that.
Unity and positivity.
Unity, positivity, and really, really. I'm wasting time saying this because we always get behind the lads in away games, but let's do it on Saturday with no arguing. And you see me with my daughter on Saturday, and if you're going to abuse anyone, abuse a Birmingham goalkeeper. Please don't abuse our own players, which we don't do in a whole, and we will get out of this as long as we stick together.
Is your daughter going with you? She going with you?
She is.
Oh, well done. You've been working on that for so long now.
No, she went to Birmingham last year and everything else, but I lied to her deeply. I messed up the train time. She thinks she's going down there for a shopping experience in
So
Nando's.
boring.
A little bit, but she's not. And I looked at the train times, and she'd be lucky if she gets a hamburger. But she's Rangers. She'll enjoy it. We'll win, and it will forget it. If we get killed, lose, then she's going to kill me. It's as simple as that. But there's a Nando's. I promised her Nando's and shopping, so I might do it in London when we get back at 10 o'clock at night.
Chirs Mendes.
I don't really have an ours in, but it is,
Okay,
it is Valentine's Day tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people will be listening to this on Tuesday morning or on Valentine's Day.
Shout out to all the florists. Good luck.
So I'd like anyone listening to let us know on Twitter who your favourite QPR partnership is, strike partnership of all time.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
As in, they have to have played together, or like fantasy partnership. So you
partnerships.
couldn't say Charlie. No, you couldn't.
Steady where you're going
You
with
couldn't
this.
say Charlie Austin and Les Ferdinand.
Well, let's
You have to say.
let's widen it. Let's widen the horizon.
So
let's widen.
what you said on Valentine's Day is you want two people who have played together. I get you in this one. I'm with
No,
you.
but can I go Les Ferdinand and Charlie Austin?
Yeah, you can do that. So he had
Okay,
the dream
fine.
QPR
Your
partnership.
dream
I've got it
strike
already.
partnership.
Dream strike
I've got
partnership.
it already. Clive Allen and John Byrne.
Okay.
Okay. Gary, your ours ends.
I was going to also mention Tiger Feet 8.
Oh, sorry.
Been done, mate.
But yeah, we've done that. So, and I also
You're also going to
talk
mention
about
Unity.
Forever
Also been
Ours.
done. Yeah,
that.
Forever Ours.
Valentine's
Done
Day,
that.
But then
Done.
I've written next to Forever Ours, wish they weren't ours. It's just a little
Hey, nice.
little game I play every home game. Just sad. But there's always, I sit there and I always come out with one person who I think, what's he? I hope he doesn't come back here at half time. And,
Who's that, Finney?
Who's your wish?
well, there's one person who I hope never comes back to QPR. It's Mr. Barton. Definitely, don't like him, but
I don't.
I go on
think
about
he'll
it all
be
the time.
inducted into
Yeah.
Forever Ours
Can I
anytime
add one
soon.
thing to?
It's so unlike you to add to your.
You can
Ours
say
ends.
Steve Slade or Morrow or someone like that.
No, not at all.
No,
I'm going to
okay.
go with something that we haven't talked about, which you probably should spend a minute on quickly. Is a managerial appointment, which is Holloway, and the one we didn't get that went to Swansea.
Well,
Is that still talkable? That
We can talk about that another time. can't we? But I mean, good luck to the bloke. Basically, he didn't want to come here the first time, from what I can gather. Is it?
I'm not sure. I think he would have come.
I think that's what I'm saying. We've had two chances to get him, and both times we haven't took that option up. Is it something
Paul
that we're going to
Clement.
regret? Yeah.
they want it. Well,
He's a
who
keeper,
knows?
but-
The fact of the matter is, none of us know what went on. The only thing we know, as sure as damn it, is that the dream manager that Tony Fernandes tweeted about was him. was Paul Clement.
Oh, okay.
That's really the only thing we know.
Back to Unity. Back the team and the manager on Saturday. Just asking a question.
Gary, before Paul interrupted you, did you finish? Because it's very impolite
was
to
the
interrupt guests.
Who was the last person?
I was going to mention about season tickets. Just some of us have been wondering about when they're going to announce anything for next year, because I thought Lee Hughes is quite keen on sort of getting in there early and but
getting the money in.
Is it because of what's happening at the moment where we're not sort of looking over the shoulder?
People won't do it. I doubt how many people will buy a season ticket not knowing whether it's going to be in League One or the Championship.
Also, we need to look at walk-up prices. They're still a bit high. Anyway, but yes, that's a good point, Gary. Also, is there any... before we go quickly, sorry, everyone wants to go. When you said people you don't want to come back, I was thinking about people in the crowd that sit near you. Is there anyone that sits near you don't want to come back?
Yes, but I'm not naming them on this podcast.
Probably the guy that sits next to me, not Steve says. The other side, he just criticises everything. Saturday was shouting at Connor Washington, telling him his legs weren't long enough.
Does he listen to the podcast?
There's nothing much you could do about that. Everyone's as blind as a bat.
Gary Bannister had one leg short than the other. He did all right.
If you're listening,
shut
up.
I'm sorry. This guy always goes sort of 2 minutes before the end, so he always misses injury time. Actually, no, he goes about 80 minutes.
So he's a legist.
Yeah,
a legist.
Okay, predictions. Yes, but I'm not going to say who. Right, not Darren. If you're listening, you're all right. There are other people near us who I would not be sad if they didn't come back.
The reason why I ask is I reckon everyone near me would like me to move, and I don't blame them.
Wouldn't surprise me. I don't imagine this makes for good listening.
No, go on.
Do you?
No.
Should we just do predictions for the Birmingham game?
Chris is banned.
I'll start with my prediction. So if Clive were here, he would say, let's have a look at it. A team that I think they've won once in 10 games or something like that, or once since the new manager came in. Yes, but they didn't beat anyone else, and they returned to type on Saturday or the weekend by losing. So Clive, if he was here, would say, take your pick. We'll help you. We'll help you find your form back.
Is there anyone that hasn't scored for about 15 games for them up front?
Probably. I am going to plough on regardless and say we will win 1-0.
2-1, I think we'll win.
Damn, I love you, David.
Well, I thought you was going to go for 1-1.
That's what I usually say, but I can't say it 3 weeks in a row.
Well, I had a few quid on Mystic Mendes' 2-1 this week, but unfortunately he got it the wrong way around. And after last week,
still right,
I'm just going to do. I'm going to say we're going to lose 1-0 and hope. I'm wrong.
Jesus Christ,
Paul.
I think it's shit or bust. And I'm going for a 2-0 away win for the Rangers, and hopefully this will be our manager bounce, and we can, because we never get that. And I love your hat, and we need that. And
Chris is putting his hat on.
Yeah,
such is the clamour to finish this podcast.
Right. I reckon 2-0.
Whilst you finish your stream of consciousness.
Smith and Washington.
Gary.
I'm going to go 1-0 QPR, but it'll probably be a draw. But a draw wouldn't be a bad result, because we don't draw enough games. We've not drawn that many games this year. Just lost a lot.
Okay, Chris now has his coat on. Harry's about to pull the wires out of all the connections. So it's time to finish the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Open All Us.
QPR, QPR, Rangers.